Christina Srinivasan, commonly known as Mohini, was born in Chennai, India to a Hindu Brahmin family who had a comfortable upbringing. Brahmins are traditionally teachers and priests and among the highest caste in Indian society, and the Srinivasan family was a prominent one. Srinivasan started acting at the age of 13 on her father's prompting, taking the stage name Mohini. She appeared in 100 films, mostly in the South Indian film industry, and became well known as an actress. Srinivasan married her husband Bharath in 1999, and soon afterward they had a son, Anirudh. She continued to act, and all seemed well with her life on the surface. The family moved for a few years to Washington, D.C. for Bharath's work, but the couple's marriage began to struggle. Srinivasan had health issues, depression, and trouble adjusting to being away from India, and she ascribed it to black magic with which a relative of Bharath's cursed her. The couple decided to move back to India but continued to struggle with their marriage. Srinivasan was searching for something. She read more about her own Hindu faith and about Sikhism, Jainism, and Buddhism and Islam. After picking up a Bible, she began exploring Christianity, going to various denominational churches, but she felt as if something was missing in all of these places. Eventually, she visited Catholic churches. One day, Srinivasan had a dream in which she saw our Lord appear to her. I was standing on a small piece of land with water to my right or left. I was completely marooned, she says. Then I saw this handsome man filled with light standing there. I could feel his comforting presence. He gave me an all-knowing smile, and his smile was so reassuring. At the same time, I understood that he was a safe person. There was so much love from him, he instantly took over my heart. I was swept off my feet by my heavenly bridegroom, and I was just looking at him and thinking, is he going to save me? Then he will be my God. One day, she was gifted a rosary, and she began to learn the prayer of the Holy Rosary. Through Our Lady's most powerful intercession, Srinivasan began to be drawn towards the Catholic faith.
Someone gave me a rosary, and I started learning how to say the rosary. I always think that I came to Jesus in the most perfect way ever possible, ever existed. I came to Jesus through Mary. Jesus came to us through Mary. It is a perfect way to reach the Lord. And Mary was with me every step of the way. Every bead became her prayer for me. Every bead of the rosary became her prayer for me, to be saved, to be protected, to be guarded. And that.
In 2006, 2 months after starting to attend Mass and in between shooting movies, she went on a retreat weekend at the Divine Retreat Center in Kerala. It was here that she listened to a sister give a talk about the body and blood of Jesus, and it was this very talk that sparked something within her. The next morning, she asked the retreat center's priest to be baptized. The priest checked with the basilica's rector where Srinivasan had been going to Mass and interviewed her further before agreeing. She received the sacraments of initiation and took the baptismal name of Christina. This is where Christina had willingly sacrificed her acting career to embrace her new faith. While she was connecting with the new Christian faith, Srinivasan and her husband continued to struggle in their marriage and had filed for divorce although still living together. One day, while at Mass, Srinivasan was praying and heard God asking her to surrender her marriage to Him. For weeks, she would go every day to morning Mass and evening adoration. Finally, Bharath ended up deciding not to sign the divorce decree, and the couple reconciled. Not long after reconciling, the couple had a second son named Adu, and the family moved again to the US for Bharath's work. Bharath says that his wife's Catholic faith has changed her, as he saw how she began to be more forgiving, less of holding grudges and better at letting go of things, and being more about looking at the larger picture. It also changed their family, he said. It had also brought a lot of refinement and fruition to their lives, so much so that in 2017, Bharath also converted to Catholicism. Bharath said he'd long had a strong affinity to Christianity, but seeing his wife's conversion and how it changed her gradually convinced him to become Catholic. Shelly Pennefather, a former Villanova University women's basketball star, gave up her life and wealth to become a cloistered nun in 1994. In 2020, ESPN reported Pennefather's story, explaining that Pennefather specifically chose Villanova after being a top 5 basketball recruit in high school. She was on the verge to becoming one of the best female basketball players in the world. She currently holds the all-time scoring record for men and women at Villanova and went on to play professionally in Japan after college. While playing professionally in Japan, she made a deal with God that if she could pull a team out of last place and into the playoffs, she would vow to owe her time and postseason bonus to Mother Teresa's convent in Pennsylvania. And I'm sure you guessed the outcome. 4 years later, in 1991, on the verge of a $200,000 annual salary, she answered her calling and renounced her worldly life. At 25 years old, she gave up a contract that would have made her one of the richest women's basketball players in the world. But Pennefather had other ideas. She told her family, mom and dad and 6 siblings, that she was entering a monastery, but not just another monastery, the Poor Clares, one of the strictest religious orders in the world. Pennefather now lives as a cloistered nun in the Poor Clares Monastery in Alexandria, Virginia. She can only physically embrace her family and friends every 25 years. In 1994, Pennefather became Sister Rose Marie of the Queen of Angels. On June 9, 2019, Pennefather had her first physical contact with family and friends since becoming a nun. Her next opportunity to do so will not happen for another 25 years, per the rules of a religious order. To this day, Pennefather remains Villanova's all-time leading scorer among women and men. If there is anything we can recall at the top of our heads, it is the fact that Chris Tucker starred in The Fifth Element and the Rush Hour movies. Both movies were box office successes. Chris is known for speaking in a fast-paced, high-pitched tone and with spirited delivery of his lines. He was even once acknowledged as the highest-paid actor in Hollywood. His most notable role would be in the action comedy film series Rush Hour. Along with Hong Kong martial artist Jackie Chan, Tucker starred as LAPD detective James Carter in the film. After the commercial success of the first Rush Hour film, he held out for a $20 million salary for Rush Hour 2 and was paid $25 million for Rush Hour 3. Although Chris doesn't endorse his faith on his socials, in a 2014 interview, he candidly spoke about his religious beliefs. "I was never a raunchy comic, but I didn't think about what I was saying because I was young," he said. "Being a Christian helps me in comedy. I have to talk about other stuff. Normally, most comics talk about stuff that's easy, maybe cussing or saying something raunchy. I have to dig deeper to find something that's still funny and not raunchy. It's harder. I like the challenge." As a comedian, Chris Tucker today keeps his stand-up clean and free of foul language. And though some comics might see that as too challenging, Chris believes it actually makes him better at his craft. When he received an offer for a film conflicting with his Christian beliefs, Chris turned it down even though it cost him $10 to $12 million. One of the reasons being that he did not want to use cussing words anymore on film. Tucker was raised Pentecostal and regularly attended church, according to Faith Wire, which says that the actor abandoned his faith after becoming famous, but slowly returned back to his Christian faith after moving back to Atlanta in the late 1990s. It is reported that shortly after giving his heart to the Lord, the roles were no longer coming as fast and as frequent as they used to. But that didn't quite move the multi-talented artist as he simply went back to stand-up comedy. Father Chase Hilgenbrick grew up in Bloomington, Illinois, where his parents Mike and Kim raised him and his brother Blaze in the Catholic faith. Father Hilgenbrick was a two-sport athlete at University High School, playing varsity basketball for 3 years and varsity soccer for 4 years. He was a high school All-American in soccer while at U High and was chosen to represent the United States on the under-17 national team. One day, he met with Chilean soccer coach Claudio Arias, who offered to help Father Hilgenbrich get a contract in Chile. And so after graduating from college, Father Hilgenbrich traveled to Chile, where he was to pursue a career in professional football. In all, he spent 4 seasons in Chile with 3 clubs and grew to become a star player. But while in Chile, the life seemed very different for him. The culture shock, the absence of his family, this made him think about what was his purpose in life. One day, while at a chapel present before the Blessed Sacrament, Father Hilgenbrich prayed for comfort as he found it difficult to reach the greatness he longed for in the game of soccer. He prayed, "Lord, bring me comfort in my life. Give me all the things that I believe to be great. Make that happen for me." And it was right there in the silence of the chapel and in the silence of his heart where he heard these words, "Be my priest." This was a big shock for him, as it was nothing he had ever wanted nor thought about. And so he rejected this thought and continued to live his life as a professional football player, earning fortune and fame. But one day he sat up in bed and thought to himself that he had nothing else planned for his life. And it was right there that the call to priesthood was heavily on his heart, and he knew right there that the priesthood was the answer to the longings of his heart. Father Hilgenbrich retired from soccer on July 14, 2008 to enter Mount St. Mary's Seminary in Emmitsburg, Maryland. He was ordained for the Diocese of Peoria on May 24, 2014. As a priest, Father Hilgenbrich has spent 2 years in Hispanic ministry and high school chaplaincy, 4 years as an assistant chaplain at St. John's Catholic Newman Center at the University of Illinois, and is now the vocations director for the Diocese of Peoria. Jim Caviezel was a regular name on cinema hoardings before agreeing to take the lead in the controversial, bloody retelling of Christ's final days. He headlined the 2002 remake of The Count of Monte Cristo and starred opposite Jennifer Lopez in the 2001 romantic drama, Angel Eyes. However, Caviezel told an audience of churchgoers in Orlando, Florida in 2017 that he had been rejected by his own industry after choosing to join Mel Gibson's cast for the Passion of the Christ film. Director Mel Gibson had initially offered him the role, only to call him back 20 minutes later and beg him not to take it, because he knew that this role would ruin his acting career in Hollywood. But Caviezel still chose to take on the role, having said, "We all have to embrace our crosses. Jesus is as controversial now as he has ever been. Not much has changed in 2,000 years." A devout Catholic, in 2011, Caviezel told the audience at the First Baptist Church of Orlando that he had learned to accept that the destruction of his acting career was a price worth paying. "We have to give up our names, our reputations, our lives to speak the truth," he said. In 2011, he claimed that good roles had been hard to come by since, but stated that this movie, in particular the role of Jesus Christ, was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. During filming, he was struck by lightning, accidentally scourged, had his shoulder dislocated, and suffered from pneumonia and hypothermia. Not to mention the numerous conversions that happened on set. Hollywood has had a difficult time casting Caviezel since The Passion of the Christ was released, although he did later star in the CBS TV drama Person of Interest and in 2018, Paul, Apostle of Christ. But he said that he doesn't need Hollywood's affirmation. "I don't do it for them, I do it for God. So everything I do is about love because I want someone else out there to find that love." Caviezel said he has no regrets about taking on the role of Jesus since it is God who gave him the talent. "He gives that to me and he's the one that multiplies it in ways that are so profound. And so it's an adventurous life. It's not the one that I would have picked, but it's far better than I ever dreamt." He goes on to say,
"So embrace your cross. I want you to have the courage to step into this pagan world and shamelessly express your faith in public. The world needs proud warriors animated by their faith. Warriors like St. Paul and St. Luke, who risked their names, their reputations, to take their faith, their love for Jesus into the world. Set yourselves apart from this corrupt generation. Be saints. You weren't made to fit in. You were born to stand out.
One of the most famous Korean new wave artists, actor and singer Rain was baptized in 2017 in a small parish in Gwangju on the outskirts of Seoul, Korea. Rain, best known for his vocal talents, is one of the leading exponents of K-pop, a Korean music trend that is highly popular throughout Asia and the world. In 2008, Rain made his Hollywood debut in the film Speed Racer and starred in Ninja Assassin in 2009, the latter of which made him the first Korean to win an MTV award. According to some sources, he drew close to the Catholic Church through his girlfriend Kim Tae-hee, a famous actress and a fervent Catholic. Now, Rain and Kim Tae-hee's first encounter was in October of 2011. Both met through the shoot of their last advertisement before Rain entered the military. Rain and Kim Tae-hee became a commercial model for social commerce, becoming close at the end of 2012 and officially announced their relationship in 2013. The love between the two only seemed to get stronger as Rain began to be drawn to the faith his wife had cherished. The dating relationship turned into marriage, but before that, in 2014, Rain was baptized at Gyeonggi-do Catholic Church. Rain was reportedly atheist before the baptism, and only family members and a few close friends attended the baptism. In 2017, the pair tied the knot in a simple wedding. No media coverage, no A-list stars checking in at the wedding. The bride herself, Kim Tae-hee, only wore a simple wedding dress designed by herself. Kim Tae-hee and Rain's wedding took place as gently and warmly as their marriage for the past 4 years. Less than a year after the wedding, Kim Tae-hee confirmed her first pregnancy and gave birth to her first daughter in 2017. In 2019, they welcomed their second daughter, and this is where Kim Tae-hee had willingly sacrificed her career to fulfill her role as a mother. Now, this all relates well with a quote from St. John Chrysostom: "If a man and a woman marry in order to be companions on the journey through earth to heaven, then their union will bring great joy to themselves and to others."